the question is, what is the drafting work that you can get in law school as an intern, right? So I want to share the other work that I did after my internship. I helped a friend in fifth year to raise investment, once from an Indian investor and then from foreign investors. This took what was expected of me to the next level, because at one level, remember, in the internship, the documents were big, they were complex, but I was only expected to read and understand them and proofread, of course, and point out a few holes. But here I had to write it. I thought having a template is all that is needed, but after the template, removing the irrelevant clauses, customizing the deal, it was a hell lot of work. I can't afford to make mistakes for a real deal which somebody is going to get money from, and that person couldn't afford, didn't want to pay like a corporate lawyer. It would have been out of his budget, and he wanted a friend to help. And this was really like difficult. And I realized that, if you draft a real contract of your own, you've seen a 300-page contract in the firm, but if I'm drafting a 40-50-page contract also, this is going to be hard for me. Share purchase agreements for uh, demat transfers, right? These were a new level of complexity. Share purchase agreement is not supposed to be a very complex agreement, but when we did it for a foreign client who was transferring demat securities, there were a few new technicalities, and to ensure all the logistics were in place, it was very challenging. Okay, and I didn't know the logistics because I hadn't had that training earlier. Who told me that, okay, this is the, I understand what a demat share is, but what happens, how does the transfer happen? I didn't know. Okay, there's an instruction which has to go to the depository and they have to record a change in the name of the beneficial owner and all of that. Nothing, I didn't know all of that, so I couldn't put that in the agreement properly. Okay, I just knew it conceptually. Then I had to review a lot of like 150 200 page private equity investments in projects deals. They used to define mathematical formula in English language and then also put the formula in it. Very complex stuff. Okay, so this is like private equity in projects. Very, very complex, hard to figure out the math and hard to understand the definition that they have written, because one formula will have three technical terms which will be defined, and then they will ensure that the parent formula comes up. Okay, so whatever math you see gets additionally complex by defining certain revenues, putting additional English text over it. Logistics is mechanics. Every transaction has mechanics. What happens first? What happens next? If I promise to do something, how do you know that it's done? Do I have to send somebody a confirmation like that, web of? Okay. Then I had to prepare various documents for briefing senior advocates on contractual violations. And I must now, what do I need to know for this? I need to know litigation. I need to know how to draft the briefing note, what the senior advocate wants to hear. First briefing, I don't even know. Some of my seniors have done this work before, so they would know, but they won't tell me exactly what they're looking for because it's gotten into their subconscious intuitive understanding. So they have not articulated it. Okay, so I'm literally on my own on this, and I need to know what the client wants to know. Okay, and then I need to know the terms of the contract, and then I need to know how to compress it all in 2 pages. Otherwise, what will happen? I will get confused while speaking to my senior. My senior will throw it away, or if my senior goes to the senior advocate with that briefing, he will get blasted for not getting the points effectively and wasting the senior's time, right? So I have to know all of these together, which requires me to know the contract related stuff. Okay, and I should have picked this up somewhere. Then the other work, this you will get in internships also. You will definitely get it as a young lawyer. You will have to draft observations and action points based on contract review. Like I give you this example of all the lease documents that I reviewed. What happened there? I was putting all the data into a structured framework, right? Like I'm putting a table and putting all the important terms of the lease agreement there. But after the review, and lease agreements is just one set, you will be reviewing hundreds of other categories. You will be reviewing depending on the nature of the due diligence, but you usually review the material agreements, and in a comprehensive due diligence you will review a lot more of all the contracts. Okay, so you have to draft observations and action points. Observation means what you found out after the review. So you'll put in the tables, but the tables will now start to present the data as an aggregated format. Then you will also say that broadly this is the structure of the lease agreements, And then if there's a problem, you will say these are the problems and these are the action points to rectify the problem. That okay, there should be agreed letters of renewal on this thing has expired, or this payment has to be charged, there is something pending. Like that, you will have to make smart action points. Okay, your action points cannot scare away the investor a lot of times, because what happens is, as a lawyer, if you point out issues, you have the natural capacity to blow up the importance of something irrelevant and scare off the client. If you scare off the client with something that's irrelevant, it's your loss too, right? The client doesn't invest in the deal. If you're acting for the investor, the client doesn't invest in the deal, right? And obviously you also, because the deal was unsuccessful, you also don't get the work. So you have to understand the relative importance of things. Also, if you blow up the importance of issues to an Indian client, they will think that you're being a stupid lawyer. Okay, so those sensitivities have to be kept in mind. Okay, then the other work I did was pointing out high level issues at the pre-investment stage to a new investor, where the investor hadn't even started diligence but said that, just review the draw documents. And this was for all the corporate agreements. This time it was for corporate agreements. What are corporate agreements? Most of these are like, memorandum of association, articles of association, previous investment contracts from prior investors. A lot of these are filed with the MCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, under the Companies Act, so you can access these online. But after reviewing, pointing the high level issues out, again, now I understand, if I review something, I've learned how to make a table. If I understand how to write the observations and action points, then I've learned that. But now suddenly, what is this new high level issue thing, right? So a senior may understand it, but I didn't, and I got this wrong a lot of times. Like, I need to point out high level issues in half a page, and I will write 5 pages. And I would think all of these are high level issues. How do I get to decide with no experience what is high level or low level? Correct. So this used to happen very frequently.